Welcome back to my alphabet series. I'm Melody and welcome to my channel Making Melody Crafts. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button for free and hit that thumbs up button if you like this video, and that way you'll hopefully be notified of any new content that I have coming out. And let's get started. Alright, we're down at the craft table and these are the different types of napkins. So we're just going to use a few of these, and I've got some of these blocks. We're going to paint some of those with gesso. We've got Mod Podge, playing cards. We're going to use those as well with some napkins. We're getting pretty far now in the alphabet series, all the way up to the letter N. If you've missed any of the videos in this series, click playlist and you'll find it in the playlist, and then you can just hit play all and binge watch them. Grab your favorite beverage. Some of them are only a couple of minutes long in this series, and all of the videos in this series are either a craft or a technique. So we've got our chip brushes and we're ready to go. I haven't used this napkin yet with the octopus. I think it's really cool. So I'm going to grab one of those. So I used this napkin in the Hope series. So if you want to see the video where I used this, I'll link that here. Most of these I purchased at Tuesday Morning. That's kind of more Christmassy, so I'm going to put that aside for now. I might use these too, these black and white ones. I like that a lot, so I'm just going to kind of keep that at the ready. And we've got some different daubers. So we've got our little, wood blocks here. And I don't want to fail to mention, this is Blue Ink Studios, and this says Printemps. There's the tag. And these that have the octopus on them, oh, it's the Michelle Design Works, or Michelle, I'm not sure. It says, it has one L on it. And then these really cool ones, these are Amscan beverage napkins made in the USA. I live in the US, so that's kind of fun when I find it. I like to purchase that. And this pattern is called Damask and Dots. So these are the things that I've selected today to embellish with some paper napkins. And we'll be doing that in various ways. So I've got a lid to a box, an old glass jar, of course the tumbling tower blocks like we mentioned, the playing cards, and a bookmark. Alright, I'm going to grab a dauber and edge this. The smaller the thing is you're working on, it's kind of nice to have the pattern be a little bit smaller too. And then there's a couple different layers to a napkin, and we're going to get those apart. There's usually 2 or 3 layers to these decorative napkins. Oh my gosh, that's cute, isn't it? I just love these so much. I am just going to try. Watch, I'll wind up using only this, but no, I am not. I'm going to make myself use something besides these. All right, an easy way to get off the paper. There's a couple different ways, but I think I saw this on Gail Agostinelli's channel. Take a piece of tape, just your regular transparent tape, and then look at that. It comes off really easily that way. There's usually more than one extra layer. This is just like whatever, like the inner layer, like a lining. I saved that though too and just put it with my other napkins. I just have a little basket full of napkins right here. That's how I store those. And that's pretty handy, and I label everything because I have a label maker and I know how to use it. Let's see if there's another layer on here. Sure enough. So let's get that off too. Great. Alright, so now we're ready. That's not too bad. I think I want some more color to come through, so I'm going to dust this just a little bit more. So I love to dust things with these chip brushes. I got this idea from Lindsay Wyrick, the Frugal Crafter. Check out her channel. And the ink that I'm going to be using right now is the Ranger Archival ink. It's a dye ink, but it's oil-based, and so I just kind of get my brush going on there. You could use a dauber too, but I don't know, I'm kind of heavy-handed when I do these things, so I really just like to use the chip brushes. And did I ever say this? I get 36 of them for $10. I think I'm probably going to go with a different option for dusting a card in the future, but I have a lot of these. That's it. We're just going pedal to the metal, and we're just going to get this right into the ink pad. I'm recording this kind of like at dinner time. Yeah, pretty much dinner time, but last night I made some chicken soup, so we're going to be having that tonight. Alright, so that looks good to me. Do I want to do anything else on there that's background before I put the napkin on? Let's stencil a little bit. Alright, this is the stencil that I chose, and I'm just using my dauber. Let's see what we've got so far. Oh, that's cute. The Ranger Archival ink requires a cleanup with some hand sanitizer or rubbing alcohol if you happen to have that. I'm going to leave the back like that. I might choose to do something different on that in the future. And then we'll get our Mod Podge opened. Alright, I think I like that. So here's a really neat trick for getting this to rip how you want. So all you have to do is get it wet, right where you want it to rip. I could rip this by hand too, but I kind of like this method. All right, and then we're just going to tear, and it'll tear right where it's wet there because obviously it's weakened. I kind of like a rough edge on 3 sides, but for now, let's just start getting some Mod Podge on there. So I'm going to put some on this layer and then some on the napkin as well. I'm going to use one of my skewers to hold that down. And I want a good layer on there because I don't want that to go anywhere. And now to get a layer on the napkin itself, really gently. And Mod Podge is also a sealer. If you made a puzzle, you can totally finish it with this. Okay, that wants to rip on me, so let's just get it down. And this will dry completely clear. Okay, then we'll put that aside to dry. All right, now I'm going to go on and cover, maybe more than one of these little blocks. And this is really small, so I want to use a smaller pattern napkin, so let's go with that one. I'm trying to decide if I want to wrap that all the way around there or not. But before we start that, let's get the extra layers off. Yes, all right, there we go. Oh, I think this one only has 1 layer. All right, instead of working with such a large piece of napkin, I'm going to go ahead and cut this. Oh, look at that. Wouldn't that look cute there on the edge? Oh, I like that. Wow, yeah, let's do that there. Wow, I can't see into the bottle here, so I just really put that in there a little too far. Well, that's how that goes. So it looks like paint right now. I've got a little bit too much there on the brush. And that is so delicate. Once you get them wet with the Mod Podge, they easily rip. I like to have a good amount of the glue too, so it doesn't drag on there, because I think that is when it seems to rip on me. Right, that is pretty neat. And you know what? I think I'm just going to go right around with that. I really like it. Right, I want a little bit more of that border, so I'm going to get that and then keep doing that all the way around. All right, so I'm going to let that part dry, and then we'll do these 2 sides. All right, so this part of the napkin that we put on here and did Mod Podge, that is all dry now. It looks so cute. Now I want to go ahead and cover the other sides as well. All right, I think I like that right there. This kind of looks like a cool quatrefoil pattern on this napkin. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this just to make it more manageable for me. And then I've got a smaller brush now instead of the really big brush for the Mod Podge. Hopefully I don't get glue all over this time. I had dinner while this was drying, had that chicken soup that I was chatting about. Oh yeah, I like how that looks. Now we're going to put another layer of Mod Podge on top. And then when you are using Mod Podge, especially with something like a napkin, it's good to go from the center and out. I haven't done that the whole time, and I don't have any wrinkles, but it really does help. All right, so I'm going to put that aside and then show you the bookmark that we were working on. All right, so now this is all dry as well. I did use my heat tool on this for a little bit, maybe like 60 seconds, just to be sure it was really dry. And now let's do something to the other side. I don't know if I want to do that octopus again on the other side. I did want to get the stamp on there, which I was unable to do based on where that octopus was positioned on the napkin. So maybe I can do it now. All right, I grabbed a different stencil for the back of this bookmark. I really like this plaid one, kind of like a little chevron print. I like it already and I haven't even done it. So I did dust the back of that, so it does have some color there, but I just like a little something extra that'll be underneath the napkin, just kind of peek out from the back, have a kind of a fun background. All right, let's see what we've got so far. So that's how that looks. Okay, that's good. All right, I'm gonna try to hold this still so it tears the way I want. It's just such a beautiful napkin. All right, let's see how that tears. And I'm just gonna pull against it and hope for the best. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, I just like that so much. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to flip it and let's get our Mod Podge on there. Well, here's a novel idea. I'm going to put something on top of my scrap paper that it won't stick to make it a little bit easier for me. I think I'm just going to do half of this at a time because it becomes a little hard to handle when there's so much Mod Podge on here and then I can't, get the whole thing on there the way I want. It's really, it's just as thin as tissue paper, so it's so easy for these napkins to rip. Oh, there. Oh, this side went much smoother than the other side, which I still love the other side as well, but that went much better. Well, surprise, surprise. A little less glue to manage was a little easier. Who'd have thunk it? So I'm going to finish that up, and then I'll show you when it's all on. Isn't it cool? It just looks great. Now I'm going to put another layer of Mod Podge on top of that. All right, so the top of it is all wet. You can see how shiny it is with the Mod Podge, and it's a little, it looks a little milky, but that will dry absolutely clear. So I'm going to put that to dry over at my cutting station. All right, we're jumping back over to the little tumbling tower blocks, And this is all dry now, so I'm gonna pull this away. All right, I like how that came out. I'm gonna go ahead and trim the edges. I think I'm gonna go ahead and use that stencil right there. I'm gonna go with a lighter color. Instead of that sepia brown, I've got a creamy caramel, which is an old Stampin' Up! Color, and also close to cocoa. I'm gonna start with the creamy caramel and see what I think. I can always go to a darker color. Oh yeah, that's nice. I think I'm gonna stick with that. All right, so that's what we've got there on that side of the block. Now, so we're gonna be using some of the stamps on here. And now using the Ranger Archival ink. This color is jet black. And archival ink is just another way of saying permanent. We're stamping right on the block. All right, so we've got the word wonder. Now using those little keys, we're gonna stamp that on here. So I'm just gonna hold that still and not push too hard. I pushed a little too hard with this. If you're using acrylic stamps, you don't need to push as hard as you do with the rubber stamps. But it is a good idea to hold it for a little bit and just wait for that ink to transfer from the stamp to whatever you're stamping on. In this case, the block. So that's how it came out. So many neat ideas. I mean, your imagination is the limit with this. So many fun things that you can do with these. All right, now I've got some playing cards. And these are just playing cards that I picked up at, I think these were at the Restore. And we're gonna get some gesso on these. If you get any of these playing cards, whether you get them secondhand or what, it doesn't matter. Sometimes they're really glossy and you'll need to rough them up a little bit with a little bit of sandpaper. In my case, I just use an emery board because it's just a small project, right? If you do use any kind of sandpaper and sand anything like that off, be careful not to blow that off because there could be things in there that you just don't want in the air. Just dry that off with my sweater. There we go. Great, and then I've got this one over here that I did previously, so that's already got the first coat. I'd like to get another coat on there. Then after this, we're gonna cover that glass with a napkin. All right, I think I'm gonna grab my heat tool because that will dry these up very quickly. All right, I just wanna go over that because I don't think it came out quite dark enough. So I'm gonna grab a marker. I'm gonna grab a Sharpie marker and go over that. All right, so that's what we've got now with that block. All right, so here's how our bookmark came out. The stenciling underneath and then the napkin on top. And this is just kind of something you just have to try and see what you like. For the bookmark, we're going to be using some sentiments from the Tim Holtz Ideology Small Talk. So the three that I really like here is Take Risks, Live, Create, Tell the Story, and then we're going to use another one on the other side. Alright, so I edged the sentiments a little bit with the Close to Cocoa. It's just a nice brown color. When you edge it with a different color, it just makes it pop off the background. So I like that, so it really stands out. And I kind of didn't want to put this here because I didn't want to cover the stamp, and I was like, wait a minute, take risks. So I put it there because of that reason. And now let's get our sentiment on the other side. So I'm edging this one also. My daubers are falling apart. Gotta get some new ones. Right, and this one says, today is full of possibilities. Yeah, I really like the way this turned out. Alright, so now we've got our playing cards. Nice, now we're going to use the floral. So, I've got the same piece of tape again. Wow, this pulled 2 layers off just like that. One, and here's the other one. Alright, I like this spot right here, so I'm going to cut this out. We're going to bring the Mod Podge back into the party. I'm going to go ahead and get a layer of the Mod Podge on here. And you know what? That was a little hasty. Let's do something on here before we put the Mod Podge on. I want to push back some of that white there. I think it's just too strong. Not only did we have a cord on our landline phone when I grew up, we also had a party line. Anybody remember those? Alright, I'm going to get both sides of this. And I can still see the number here, but I kind of like that. I don't always when I'm, using different playing cards for ATCs or upcycling, but I really do like it to show through once in a while. I just can't resist to do a little stenciling on something. I'm going to go for just a real pretty design, floral. That's what we've got so far. The stencil is fiddly, but it does make a beautiful pattern. I don't think it would come out too good on this. Oh my gosh, I like that so much. I think it's adorable. Let's do the same to that side. Alright, so here's both of the cards stenciled, and that was the Close to Cocoa Stampin' Up. I'm going to go with this one. Yeah, that's really cute. So let's see if I can get this on here like I want to. Now, let's see if it smudges all that ink that I just put on. If it does, it does. I'm not going to worry about it. Wow, so far so good at staying put. And that's just a dye ink. It's water-based. Doesn't seem to be moving too much on me, so that's good. I'm smudging a little bit, but I don't mind that. It's just a background. I'm going to move this over so I have a nice clean surface. These are just dividers. I like to use these with paint and Mod Podge and things. They're just dividers that come in between wipes in a container. You know, like the baby wipes. Oh, that's ripping on me. It's alright. So that already had some glue on the other side. We'll just get it down. Alright, and that's got to dry. While that's drying, let's start the jar. Alright, here's our adorable little glass jar. And now to decide which of these decorative napkins that I want to put on here. I think I'm going to cut out this lilac area and try to use part of that there. There's so many paintbrushes sitting around here. My craft table's such a mess. Let me grab something a little smaller. You know what? I think I'm just going to use my water brush. So I'm going to go right down the middle. You just squeeze and then the water comes out of these. There we go. I think the rough edge just looks so much prettier. Oh, very nice. That's what I'm looking for. I just use my sweater to dry things. It's how I am. That dried in about 10 seconds, but then my heat tool heats to 650 degrees, so you know that would explain that. It's only tissue paper. Alright, so let's go ahead and get that on there. Okay, here we go. Moment of truth. I'm going to possibly get in the frame here, so I apologize if I do. Oh, quick. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. I'm going to finish that up, and then we're going to have a little solution for the gap here, because there is a gap. But I just liked the way these purple flowers looked, and I thought the scale was nice of these flowers for this jar. So now I know that that is still wet, but I'm just going to flip it over and see what we can do here. I'm going to kind of crease that so it'll stay put there for me. I'm kind of a messy crafter, I have to say. I have a good time when I'm crafting. And sometimes that means a mess. And now, ever so gently, I'm going to try to smooth that on there. And now the other side. Oh my gosh, I like it so much. So we just have a little tiny gap there. Alright, so I'm going to use the water brush again, and I'm just going to go ahead and divide this. Yeah, I think I like that piece there. Oh my goodness, it's so cool and so pretty. You could do jars like this and they would make nice gifts as well. So we're going to get a whole coat on there. This brush is probably a little too big for this, and it's not very delicate. I have a video where I did some decoupage that's also in the alphabet series, and I'll link that video here. Okay, so we've got a layer on the outside as well. Then that'll all dry clear. I'm just going to try to smooth it out a little bit again. So there's our jar. Then I'll show that to you when it's all dry. Alright, there's our playing card so far with our napkin on it. And then this side just has the gesso and stenciling. I think I'm going to use some of these chipboard stickers. This is Jen Hadfield Homemade, and I got this at Tuesday morning some time ago. So now I'm just going to try to select something that I like for on here. Oh, that might be nice. I really like this welcome sticker with the flowers in the little jar. So I chose to get some numbers on here. What do you think about that? I'm going to add some extra glue to this. It is pretty sticky. Sometimes when a lot of these different stamps get older, or different stickers get older, the adhesive just isn't very good anymore. But this one is pretty good, but I'd rather have the extra insurance that the things I make don't fall apart. That's pretty important. Alright, so there's our little playing card. And this one, this side is embellished with a napkin. And now I'm going to get some sentiments on here as well. And then we'll check on the jar in a little bit. Alright, so here's the sentiment I chose. Just this memories. And usually I like my sentiments at the bottom and on an angle, but for some reason I like this one right in the middle. And I don't think I'm going to put it on an angle. I think I'm going to put it just straight across like that. So let's get some glue and glue it down. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and edge this. It'll create a nice little frame for this. I think it just came out wonderful. So I should probably use the archival one. Let's switch to that. So I'm just going to use the same dauber, not worry about it. They're both dye inks. It makes such a difference, doesn't it, with the edging? So there we go, really cute. And then next, we're going to do that lid, and then we'll get to see the jar all dry. Working with napkins is just so much fun, and if you're having some fun or learning something, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that thumbs up button. That way you'll hopefully be notified of any content that I have coming up. And I cannot wait to show you that glass jar and how that turned out. But before I get to that, I want to go ahead and cover this lid because it comes with a box, or I guess the box comes with a lid. Now what to try, what to try. All right, I am pretty happy with this. I think it is just so gorgeous. So I don't know, I might want to cover this or go over it just a little bit, but I don't want to use gesso because that just adds so much drying time to my projects. What if I just put a light layer on? Oh, this is how it is. Alright, so we're just going to put a really light layer on there, and then I can just use the heat tool to dry it. So there's a light layer of gesso that I did on all the sides and on the top, and then I just used my heat tool. Well, that's really nice, isn't it? Check that out. Let's try something new. Here we go. Instead of using the Mod Podge, which then I have another wet layer to dry, I'm just going to try the glue stick and see what happens. Okay, so we've got a light layer of gesso, that Scotch Create glue stick, and let's just go across here. And I'm going to go like halfway. I think the center of that flower is halfway. And let's see what happens. And with this, you really only have one chance. Oh, that turned out really well. We could always do Mod Podge on the top, but we don't have to do it on the underside. So I think we're onto something. I think I discovered something. Eureka! All right. Now let's go ahead and get this side. I'm going to pull this as far as I can get it here. Oh good, it's even moving for me a little bit because I don't want any gaps where there's any areas where I don't have glue. Ooh, there we go. All right. And then once you get a finger that has glue on it, it makes this process pretty hard. And now on this side, I think I'm just going to go right around. I love how that looks there, where part of that little stamp is right on the edge. It's just the coolest, right? I hope everyone is having some nice spring weather, or maybe nearly summer weather. If you're not, I hope the weather changes soon to something that is more suitable to you. So that's our lid so far. So I'm going to finish it up, and then we'll get on with seeing that jar with all of that cool decoupage on there. I love how it looks. There is something else I'd love to do to that, but sometimes I just have to know right when to stop. All right, I can't wait to show you the inside. You ready? I think that came out great. It looks awesome. So now let's distress this a little bit. I absolutely love edging things like this. A vintage feel is one of my most favorite things. Okay, so there's the edges. So there is our lid, all distressed. Now to show you that jar, that decoupage jar, how that came out. I really do like it. There's just a couple things that I would do to it a little bit differently. So I've got some baker's twine and then just some like organza ribbon and just a light blue. I think that's so beautiful. A brown would look nice with this, or some jute twine as well. So there's our bookmark. And now for the little jar. I think it just came out so cute. But to do it again, I think what I want to do is I want to paint the inside. So let me show you. I grabbed a piece of white paper, just kind of rolled it up and popped it in there. And now look at that. If I paint the inside white, look how cool that's going to look. It really shows up more. So I thought this napkin would be a lot brighter. I don't know how I would do that over again. Let me know in the comments, what would you do differently to that? But I think that's what I would do right now, is paint the inside, because see just how much more you can see that if the inside is white. So I think I might do that in the future. And then also I would love to add some twine to this. And you could use a bit of hot glue. I'm just going to go ahead and tie a knot on this. I have had so much fun doing this video. And if you've had some fun or learned something, please subscribe. I'd appreciate it so much. And while you're at it, maybe hit that thumbs up button if you did enjoy this video. And then hopefully you'll be notified of any content that I have coming up. I hope you all have just a great week and an awesome start to your summer or to late spring, whatever it may be where you are, whatever the weather may be where you are, and whatever time of year that you happen to be watching this. I really appreciate you all so much, and I'll catch you later.